Cleo Pahlmeyer. Thanks for being here. This is one of the many estates that I've had a chance to taste from the very beginning and to see this progress. And you've brought your Traveler Pinot Noir, which has got a whole story about it. So please tell us what we're tasting, and thanks for being here.
Awesome, thank you. So Wayfarer is in Fort Ross Seaview, which became an AVA in 2011. And so, as we've been discussing a little bit, Fort Ross Seaview's boundary is actually defined by elevation. So that's a really important factor in this region. I mean, just to take a step back though for a minute, Fort Ross Seaview is very, very rural. This is where Antonio felt like he might be murdered. I think he was out with Aaron that day. But it's very, very rural. It's winding mountain roads, and it's an incredibly dramatic region because as you kind of pop out from thick redwood forest out onto a ridgeline driving, you'll see, oh, look, there's a vineyard over there, or there's a vineyard up there. You'll just get little glimpses of the vineyards, which there are very few of them compared to the area of the region. And so down in the lower elevations is where the redwoods like to grow, and the vineyards are planted on the ridge lines. And so Wayfarer is at 1,200 feet in elevation is our highest point. The lowest point is a little above 900 feet in elevation. And so it is very much out of the fog. And we get our cool influence comes from just the direct proximity to the Pacific Ocean. And so actually at Wayfarer, you could set your watch to it. The hottest point in the day at our vineyard is at noon, and then the ocean breeze just starts blowing in. And actually from our Vinous map, I was able to see for the first time that it's a small detail, but you can see where Wayfarer is situated. The ridgeline actually comes inland quite a way. So Wayfarer is a little more inland than the other vineyards. It's 4 miles from the ocean, but you can see the ridgeline actually also comes pretty far inland. It acts like a funnel for that cool air to come and start cooling down the vineyard midday. But when you're at high elevation, we also get a lot of sunlight and sunshine. So we're out of the fog for more hours of the day than vineyards in lower elevations. And that just that influence of the sun on the fruit really affects the character of the fruit and the wine. So we get a little bit more sun exposure. The skins are a little thicker and get really distinctive structure in wines from Fort Ross Seaview and from Wayfarer. There's so much, the tannin quality from that is, I think just is a really distinctive quality of Fort Ross Seaview. So Wayfarer, my dad planted Wayfarer in 2002, so just take you back a little bit. And I started Wayfarer in 2012. At the time, we were blending our estate fruit with other vineyards and bottling them under Pahlmeyer label. And as I started working with my dad and got my footing in the industry more and more, it really became clear that we had this incredible vineyard in this site that really should be an estate label. And so I started Wayfarer in 2012, and I think that in every year we're constantly observing and fine-tuning. Our winemaker, Todd Cohn, he and I have been working together for more than 10 years now, and I think looking back at the wines, if you had tasted Wayfarer in 2012 or 13 or 14 and not tasted again since, I think that now you would really see a distinctive difference in the wines. Todd is very patient and very methodical, and so sometimes I would push him more and more to make bigger changes faster. But every year, one of our core values is observing and experimenting and just constantly fine-tuning to improve year after year. And so constantly turning the dials in the vineyard and in the winemaking. So the Traveler Cuvée, this is one of our block selections. Wayfarer is actually planted to 10 different Pinot Noir clonal selections. And in each block, so we'll ferment each block separately. And and with the block selection wines, you can really see the unique differences in different Pinot Noirs and different clonal selections between the wines. So the Traveler is a suitcase clone. This isn't one that my dad brought over like he did with when he started Pahlmeyer in Napa, but one that we sourced and has become really truly distinctive at Wayfarer Vineyard. The clusters, usually a Pinot Noir cluster is really tightly packed, really tiny little Pinot Noir cluster. The clusters themselves even look truly unique at our vineyard. They're a little bit bigger, looser, with really tiny berries. And so this wine has always stood out as being a really distinctive wine at Wayfarer, and we're actually taking field selections and planting more of it at our site. It has tons of length in the wine, a really detailed structure. And it's a little bit darker fruited than some of our other wines, but I think that darker fruit character is also reflective of Fort Ross Seaview. And no matter when we pick this wine, it always has the lowest pH of all of our Pinot Noirs. It's just naturally, just has this really driving acidity through the finish. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'm very happy to see so many wonderful faces here this morning.
Thank you, Cleo. I think that last point is really important because a lot of times I think in